Hello my friends, glad to see you, and today we continue our lection about movement. So in our first and second lection we speak about the paleokinetic system, which is located in a brainstem and spinal cord, and it's functioning as a base part of the controlling movement. As you remember, the reticulospinal tract and reticular formation gave the base tone of the base muscular tone, and the also ability of paleokinetic system is controlling agonist and antagonist, also being in one one position of the body. So let me show you on Hasniptota as she is standing, because she has a paleokinetic normal system, and vestibular tracts control the head, muscles, body muscles. Vestibular tracts are keeping in a vertical position, and she can be in a one position. So being in a one position and coordinately controlling the agonist of antagonist muscles is a base part of a paleokinetic system. This is just a short review about last lection. Today we will speak about the Talamo-palidar system. As the name, as you understand by name, the morphological base of this function is a thalamus and pallidum. So thalamus is a sensory organ in a brain, and pallidum is a motor organ of a brain, one of a motor part of a brain. They work with each others. So all the sensory information, for example, she is standing now, and you even listening to me, you are feel your body. You are feel something like muscular feeling. You feeling your muscles, and you have an ability to move. It is very important because this sensory stimulus is forming in a thalamus, and all the proprioceptors of muscles come to thalamus and form this sense. So pallidum give the information from the thalamus, and pallidum understand each limbs where is located, where is a hand, where is a foot and head, and he can move the body. So what is the ability? What ability has a pallidum and this level of movement? The base ability is it's called a synergy. I try to explain you very simply way, because this is a very difficult and hard to understand and to look it on a patient. But let's imagine the situation. She can stand. She can construct the muscles and relax the antagonist. It is not enough to doing some movement. For example, in some movement, in the same time, synergically, she can move a head, neck, and hand. For example, look. So what you see a synergically construction of neck muscles, head muscles, and hand. Yes. So this is the ability of pallidar activation. Pallidar activity is make the synergically construction of the muscles. So this synergically construction and the other sequence of the movement make the pallidum, and sequentially doing some kind of the movement. Do you notice, for example, when some situation, for example, when you looking, somebody is coming to you on a dark, in a dark room, for example, and by the movement you understand who is it. You do not hear him, you do not look his face, see his face, but you, by the kind of the movement, you understand who is it, and you recognize him. By what? For example, when by the synergically type of, for example, movement. For example, this movement is some template. So synergy formed the template, which is very personal. For example, even when I'm speaking, you look at my hand, I'm explaining with moving my hand. This is my synergy, and this is my movement template. My muscular system work with my brain, my mind, and when I try to explaining something, I also move my hand. It is a normal, I hope. This is in clinical cases in physiology. It's called stereotyping. Stereotype of a movement. The base of this stereotyping movement is also based on synergy movement. In clinical cases, we call the synkinesis, synergy and synkinesis. So every person has its personal type of a movement, which is coming from a born, from a childhood, from exercises and ability of them expressing some movement. So if I let's understand the thing that palidum do not has a primary contact with vestibular system and other stabilized system of a brainstem, but he take this all information where is located the body from the thalamus, and also the personal ability of movement he kept in his for example mind, and each type of a movement, please be careful, driven by the palidum. So palidum hasn't any information about where is located the body in a tridimensional space, but he can synergically control control the many type of muscles and doing some movement templates, and which you see in physiological movement, and for example very personal. And second thing, that palidum is very connected with emotions. For example, when one Hasmitoda say about to see something new and say what, and in this emotion he's doing this movement. So palidar synergy and templates also express the emotions. This is emotional movements in a face, in a pantomime, for example, any type of the inner type of the condition of the emotion, palidum can express. So palidum is also give not only continuation of a movement, that then he is as a driver, he can start any type of big movement program, and he can control the sequence by changing one template to other. For example, when I ask you to stand up and show me how you are opening a door, you standing up and coming to the door and show me how you are opening, yes? But do you notice that each person when stand up, they stand up with emotions? Some of you are expressed, for example, of this question, and some of you is very kind. So you are all notice these emotions which is express a body. So palidum can express a body to the emotional language, and this this body movement language can recognized by others and understand the emotion. Okay, so this is a very interesting. So I hope you understand what controlling the palidum, and please be careful and do not forget, the palidum is controlled the synergically construction and continuation of this construction, starting of this construction and forming the templates of movement. So example, our templates are a lot of, for example, keys, for example, taking something, for example, expressing some emotions, and this is a base of the big program of a movement. So palindrome is located upper than paleogenetic system and is working with the thalamus. They are working as a one organ, to say the truth. And you know, for example, emotional nucleus is amygdala, which is located in temporal lobe. So when amygdala is enhanced its activity, so emotions are become, it also activates the thalamus. So when you are in emotions, you are feel your body more good than in other cases, and thalamus and palindrome are interconnected. So connection between the amygdala and thalamus are based on a glutamate mediation. So glutamate is the activator mediator, as you remember, but the palindrome is connected with thalamus with the GAMK mediation. So he is stopping activity. For example, when emotion enhances the thalamic activity, in this emotional stage you feel your body and inner sensing are coming to the cortex. So it is need to do some movement for stopping the thalamic activity. So when irritation is thalamus is become, so sometimes you see with this person, for example, angry person are moving and speaking with hands as me, yes, as show you, and doing something. No, this is making some templates, what I'm showing you, templates of movement. Why? Because the enhancing the palindrome activity stop the thalamus emotional activity. So this is important, because when thalamus irritates, it is a start to doing some program. It is for example, you see a tics. When in tics, for example, person becoming in emotions, he doing some stereotyping a movement. Somebody closing his eyes, for example, this is also tic. Moving his hand, for example, look. This is a simple tic, for example. Stereotypically moving. So when we ask her, can you control and do not? She say yes. And one time she cannot do. But when thalamus is irritated, so she need to do some movement for stopping inner irritation activity. So this is a one type of tic, because there is a second type of tic we call the Tourette syndrome. In Tourette syndrome, the mechanism is difficult. It's coming from the impulses of the moving, coming from the frontal cortex to the palindrome. So this is a little hard for you, but Lucina will discuss in a hospital in next year. So just try to remember these two disease and pathogenesis. You will explain later. So what is the pathology of the Talamo-palidar system? Let's think. So if palidar system will be, for example, has a low activity, so this person hardly will start a movement. Yes, at first, because starting of a movement controlling by palidar activity, she can't synergically construct many type of muscle. So she will be in a state, for example, stand position, and she will stay. So sometimes when we ask her to walk, she will do it with slowly, yes, do it slowly and hardly synergically construct muscles. When we look to her, for example, we see a poor of muscular construction activity, poor of emotional activity, poor of doing the expressive activity of movement. So maybe you understand, I speak about the Parkinson syndrome. So palidar inactivity is become as a Parkinson syndrome. Why? Because the palidar activity in Parkinson syndrome, Parkinson, what is palidum not enough take the dopamine from dopaminergic nucleus, dark matter of a brain, so his activity is coming too low, which we see as a Parkinson syndrome. So this is a typical case when the, so please be careful. I speak about the hypokinesis, and in each hypokinesis, because palidar activity is going to downer nucleus, vestibular, red nucleus, so all of this program of the palidum doing with the red nucleus. Red nucleus listening what is palidum is saying and help to palidus to realize this movement. So when palidum is inactive, red nucleus goes out to the palidal control and making the whole system with reticular formation, with whole system of paleokinetic activity on a muscle, and we see a Parkinson syndrome. So in normal condition, reticular spine, reticular formation, red nucleus, vestibular control are directly controlled by the palidum. So palidum activity is in a wake-up condition, and with normal activity is controlled in low condition, it produces a Parkinson syndrome. So what will be if the vice versa stage, for example, when the palidum is irritated? So we see a lot of synergically chaotic, for example, movement, yes, which all type of a movement is synergically, yes. Look, I'm repeating again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 6, and others, yes. All of this type is synergically movement. What I show you a chorea. So when a chorea is and athetosis also, and athetosis is one, for example, one part of a body being in a non-normal position, then she change other type of position, and sometimes the chorea is concerning to synergically constructing any type of muscles, and she's looking like a dancing, yes. So irritation of palidum produce the symptoms of hyperkinesis, chorea, for example, and athetosis. Also, he produce a stereotyping of tics, yes, stereotyping of movement we call it tics. Okay, there's a very different in his pathogenesis and athetosis, chorea. Sometimes athetosis being with the chorea, and we say choreo-athetoid hyperkinesis. So hyperkinesis and hypokinetic syndromes, mostly by palidar system, mostly reproduced by the chorea-athetosis tics, and hypokinesis is produced by Parkinson syndrome. Okay, thank you.